All right, Gabi, so we're going to take a look here at this 70 kilo snatch that we just missed out front, 1 kilo off your best. So right now we're looking at your setup, and we can see that I would like maybe your hips to be a little higher. As you can see, they're almost in line with your knees. So it'd be nice to see maybe the hips, you know, fixed somewhere like here. And then that's basically your shins. So then your head's up here, and then we can have a nice line straight down to that bar. So I would say for there is maybe let that bar come off a little bit more towards the midfoot. A good rule of thumb is trying to have that bar, if you took your fist and a closed fist and put it in front of your shin, where the pinky's next to your shin and the thumb is next to the bar. It's generally where we like to at least start our setup. And that's going to allow you maybe to be a little more weight into the entire foot. Maybe you are a little too heel heavy and you're not really able to sit down and get that chest up high. So when we look at this, we take off, it's pretty good. You can see how you kind of get pulled out in front over the bar slightly. I think it's just because you're kind of sitting too far back. But right here, right, you're still, arms are starting to kind of pull a little bit. But if we can zoom in, watch the feet. See how you're almost entirely in your heels, and that might be you're just kind of starting far back with your weight too far back, and you're not over the bar enough with your body, that you start to then have to extend early, you know, and come forward to meet the bar because you're falling backwards. So I think just kind of fixing that setup might help you off a little bit. Another key tip that we want to think about here is pushing from the floor. So the knees are kind of slow to straighten. They don't really ever come back to perpendicular to the floor, right? And if you look, they're still kind of angled slightly forward, which in turn is going to have that bar end slightly forward. And we can see it right here when we look. Your takeoff point of your back angle is forward, right? And I'm just kind of breaking this down. We'll give you some things to work on, but just so you can see what I'm looking at, is you're already elevated, you know, the heels are off the ground. So some things that we want to look at if we roll this back here, maybe let that bar come off a little bit more, so making sure you check that bar over the midfoot with the whole fist test. That's going to allow you to kind of keep that chest up a little higher in the pole, and then stay over the bar. Let your shoulders, you should feel these muscles in the upper back and back of the shoulders, you should feel them like really turned on, because the pull off the floor in the snatch, you're using your hamstrings, your glutes, your quads, and you are using the shoulders and upper back, right? You're not obviously pulling with the arms and bending at the elbow, but you are actively pulling up and keeping the shoulders on top of the bar as you stand up. What that's going to help us do is it's going to help us minimize getting pulled too far forward, right? So you would have your, you know, if you were in that kind of setup, your back angle would be a little more vertical. You know, you'd still have that, but your shins would almost be vertical at this point. Or we could then, you know, have them here. That's the wrong arrow. Have them here, and your body would just be a little further back. You know, it might be a little more upright. And then over time, we'd be able to basically have your trajectory. You'd have your heels, you know, flat on the floor, not up on the toes. Your back would be in a more vertical plane, going that way. And then your shins would basically be, you know, straight up. And that will help with that bar not swinging out in front. That being said, it was a pretty close miss, right? Great high elbows in the turnover. But I just think it's just that you were getting pulled up on your toes and then it wasn't in the right position. Off by an inch, and we're going to get that easily next time. So keep at it, thinking about setting that barbell up over the middle of the foot a little more, keeping your body on top of the bar as you stand up, and then bringing it into the body and make sure you're not getting pulled up on the toes.